Punters and pundits alike are sticking the boot into Anthony Albanese right now for what they perceive as his failure to come out hard against the insane tariffs imposed by Donald Trump.
Australia bans, and they're wonderful people and wonderful everything, but they ban American beef. You know what? I don't blame them, but we're doing the same thing.
Albo's kept his cards close to his chest. Basically, he said sweet FA, but even still, he's hit the big time in the United States.
Australian Prime Minister Anthony Albanese was pretty upset.
The administration's tariffs have no basis in logic, and they go against the basis of our two nations partnership. This is not the act of a friend.
Yes, this is not the act of a friend.
FYI, The Late Show with Stephen Colbert is one of the highest rating late night talk shows in America.
This is the act of a poisonous spider, or a poisonous snake, or a poisonous koala, or a poisonous labradoodle. Everything here will kill you. Look out, poisonous Prime Minister. Ah!
I've heard worse Aussie accents.
I got a fang on the back of one heel. My dad was a platypus.
But look, there's no need to panic. I bet US presidents have much better things to do than sit around looking at the idiot box.
I turned on the television. On television the other night. I watched him. I heard him on television yesterday. On television. I see on television. I'm watching television.
Based on that, what would you rather Trump see? Albo's vanilla verging on vapid waffle, or this?
The Prime Minister of the day should have the ability and the strength of character to be able to stand up against bullies, against those that would seek to do us harm.
The standing up to bullies rhetoric might play well to some sections of the electorate, but does anyone think it would actually intimidate this guy?
You want me to be tough? I could be tougher than any human being you've ever seen. I'd be so tough. But you're never going to get a deal that way.
But don't give Albo a complete pass just yet. Today, he justified his failure to address tariffs in a meaningful way by saying the government was in caretaker mode. While that's technically true, I call bullshit, because Australia's caretaker conventions have clear carve-outs for pressing international negotiations. You know, like global economy wrecking tariffs. So while Albo's reluctance to weigh in on the tariff cluster you-know-what is understandable, his explanation for it is piss weak. The First Leaders debate last night was a Sky News People forum of 100 undecided voters in Western Sydney. There were no major gaffes, no knockout blows, but there is still plenty of jabs to talk about. Dylan Caporn, what did you make of the First Leaders debate?
It was pretty unremarkable, frankly. Both leaders sort of performed to their strengths. They decided, they attacked the topics that they wanted to. No one really landed a blow, as you said. I thought it was interesting. Dutton obviously started with pretty high expectations that he needed to meet after his first week on the campaign trail, and he seems to have, I think, been able to build a little bit of momentum off his performance. So it was just it was a very ho-hum debate, frankly.
Yeah, it seemed to me going into this debate that Albo probably had the most to lose after a fairly strong start to the campaign, and Dutton really needed to steady the ship, which has been taking on a bit of water. Is that how you saw it?
Well, they both performed pretty strongly. I think that's about right. The Prime Minister was the one who, having had the momentum throughout the campaign in the first week, really this was probably the most dangerous point in the campaign for him, other than any time he comes across a stage. I guess for Dutton, he really needed to perform to, I think, quell any concerns within the party about his performance and the campaign's performance to date.
Yeah, and look, he had a crack at Albo for whipping out the Medicare card, but I think if he could have got a petrol Bowser onto the stage, he would have more than happily done that. Now, the big talking point happened just before the debate when the opposition leader's dad suffered a heart attack and was taken to hospital. Did you think that impacted Peter Dutton's performance at all?
I think a lot of people gave him credit for going ahead with the debate no matter what. There was some rumours beforehand that they might pull the plug on the debate with that news emerging just in the few minutes before. I think he performed reasonably well, given everyone sort of knew what had happened to his dad. He's spoken a bit more about that today, and just about how he loves his dad and the sort of impact it had. But he performed reasonably well given the circumstances.
He did very well to go out there and actually do it, Pete.
Yeah, look, I thought, do I pull out of the debate? But anyway, my sisters were up there with him and giving me regular reports, which was good. But he's a great man, and I love him very much.
If governments don't look after everyone, then the likes of Trump get a foothold. You don't have to choose between the timid and the terrible in this battle of the Band-Aids. You can vote for a future for all of us.
Adam Bandt was the headline act at National Press Club today. Political correspondent Nicholas Smith. Did the Greens leader thrive or wilt under the spotlight?
He stayed pretty much on message for what the Greens wanted to put forward. He made his big election pitch to reform negative gearing and end capital gains tax discounts on investment properties if he holds balance of power in a hung parliament. And the Greens have put housing and the housing crisis very much at the centre of their election pitch, saying that a third of voters are renters, that people are really struggling, and he wants to end what he says is a property investor's time bomb that needs to be diffused. He said that under these tax breaks set up by Prime Minister John Howard, that young people are really getting a raw deal and property investors are the big winners. So he put that at the very centre of the Greens' pitch to voters. The problem is that the government has already rejected his suggestions. Labour has said, first of all, that they're not going to contemplate going into a minority government with the Greens. The Prime Minister has said that repeatedly. And also the Housing Minister today said, we're not going to move forward with these kind of reforms. Our data shows that this will not help the housing crisis.